When we first covered central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, on our channel back in 2021, 81 countries were exploring them. That was over 90% of the world's global GDP. Now fast forward to 2024, and now 135 countries are looking into CBDCs, covering 98% of global GDP. But here's the thing, the number of countries that have actually launched a CBDC hasn't changed much. Only 2 more countries have joined the list, bringing the total to just 4. Even so, there's a lot to dive into in today's video, and we'll explore why countries that have launched a CBDC are, spoiler alert, struggling to get their citizens on board. We'll also see what stages other countries are at in their CBDC development and why some groups are opposing these developments. Okay, first, let's quickly recap what CBDCs are by starting with something that we're all familiar with: fiat money. Now, we all know that fiat money is backed by a government and issued by the country's central bank. Well, CBDCs are just a digital version of fiat money, issued and regulated by the central bank, and have the same value as physical cash. This differs from digital cash in general, like what you use in your debit card or bank accounts. That type of digital money is stored and managed by commercial banks, which serves as the middleman to the central bank. And that is the major difference between CBDCs and digital currencies such as cryptocurrencies. Unlike CBDCs, cryptocurrencies are decentralized and not controlled by any single entity. With a CBDC, transactions could happen directly from your digital wallet to, say, a store's digital wallet without needing a payment processor or bank. All transactions would be tracked and managed by a digital ledger controlled by the central bank, eliminating the need for intermediaries. Now, this type of CBDC used by the general public for everyday transactions is called a retail CBDC. The other type, known as wholesale CBDCs, is for large-scale transactions and interbank settlements by financial institutions. Typically, concerns around privacy and other issues are primarily related to retail CBDCs. This video is brought to you by Sonic Labs. They're proudly launching round 2 of their meme season meme coin competition with 750k FTM tokens up for grabs. The first round saw 500k worth of liquid staked FTM tokens awarded to thousands of winners. Round 2 just launched on July 22nd and runs till September 5th and will be based on a brand new scoring formula, rewards distribution, and eligibility criteria. For this round, 90% of the prize pool will go to the top 500 holders of each winning meme coin and 10% to the teams. On top of that, even providing liquidity for eligible meme coins will count you as a holder and a participant in the competition. To sweeten things even more, Rabby users will get free gas for their first 10 transactions on leading dexes like Beethoven X, Spooky Swap, WeGo Swap, and more. It's super simple to join. First, set up any Phantom compatible wallet like Rabby or MetaMask. Visit the meme season's leaderboard to see participating meme coins that are eligible for trading. Pick your favorite and potentially earn a prize for holding them or providing liquidity with them. For fellow traders and agents who are interested, apply now on their website. Full entry rules and further details from their blog posts will be linked in the description below. Now that we're caught up with the basics, let's dive into the current state of CBDC development globally. Now, at the time of shooting this video, a total of 135 countries are exploring CBDCs. Among them, 33 are investigating both retail and wholesale CBDCs, such as the US, the UK, Russia, China, and Japan. However, some nations are focusing solely on one type. For instance, 8 countries, including the Philippines, Switzerland, Saudi Arabia, and Malaysia, are exclusively developing wholesale CBDCs. On the other hand, countries like Iran, Turkey, South Korea, and Mexico are concentrating solely on retail CBDCs. Most countries are still in the research stages, but the number in the development stage has jumped from 16 to 30 since 2021. Notable countries that have entered this stage include the UK, US, Mexico, and Norway. The European Central Bank, which is developing a retail digital euro, also announced in October 2023 that it's moving from its 2-year investigation phase to the preparation phase, which will last another 2 years. This phase focuses on further testing and experimenting. Some countries have moved from the development stage to the pilot stage, which involves testing the CBDCs in select cities or settings before a full launch.
CBDC is going to be years in the evaluation.
This list has grown from 14 to 36, including countries like Australia, Russia, China, Japan, India, Iran, Malaysia, and South Korea. But progress has been slow for countries that have fully launched a CBDC and those which have only released retail CBDCs. Back in our video in 2021, it was only Nigeria and Jamaica. Now, the Bahamas and Zimbabwe have joined them. However, even in these countries, adoption hasn't been smooth. For example, in Nigeria, reports revealed that only about 1.5% of e-Naira wallets engaged with CBDC transactions weekly. The Nigerian government even tried to unsuccessfully push adoption by limiting cash withdrawals. Jamaica also faced similar issues with their CBDC, JamDex. The government issued incentives to attract users, onboarding around 260,000 by February 2024. However, Bank of Jamaica Governor Richard Biles highlighted that adoption was still very low because merchants didn't really see the unique benefits of accepting CBDC payments instead of their already working methods such as credit and debit card payments. The narrative was still the same for the Bahamas and their CBDC, the Sand Dollar. The Central Bank of the Bahamas revealed in February 2024 that there were around 2 million Sand Dollars in circulation, representing less than 0.5% of cash in circulation. They highlighted that infrastructure issues such as internet coverage hindered some people from accessing and using the CBDC. And then also fear from the public who were wary of privacy concerns was also an issue. Privacy and surveillance concerns are undoubtedly a common theme with CBDCs. They've been raised repeatedly because unlike cash transactions, which are inherently more privacy preserving, CBDC transactions could be fully traceable and transparent to the government. Critics argue that this could lead to a situation where the government monitors and controls financial behavior.
Digital currency that is centralized, that's controlled by the government.
Right.
That scares the shit out of me.
Potentially pushing individuals or groups for transactions deemed undesirable. This could manifest in several ways, such as freezing assets, programming spending restrictions, and in extreme cases, suppressing specific groups. In fact, governments have already demonstrated this control before, even through traditional banking. For example, in Canada, in early 2022, during protests, banks froze accounts linked to protesters under government orders. Similarly, during the 2019 pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong, banks also froze accounts of activists. With CBDCs, governments could do this more easily. They could quickly freeze activists' CBDC wallets, blocking access to funds and limiting their ability to participate in protests and even day-to-day financial transactions. Finally, as with any digital system, CBDCs are vulnerable to cyber attacks and technical failures, being particularly at risk as it poses a single point of failure. If a retail CBDC system were hacked, it could compromise the financial information and assets of millions of users. Consider the example of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and its Dcash project, one of the first large-scale multinational CBDC pilots. Dcash faced a significant technical issue that caused an outage lasting roughly 3 months, preventing users from making payments and transfers. Some of these concerns have led to people all over the world taking a stand against CBDCs. In the UK, for example, a petition to prevent the introduction of any programmable CBDC gathered over 31,000 signatures. The government responded to the petition, stating they have no plans to program CBDCs or restrict spending. In the US, a survey by the Cato Institute found that 34% of Americans oppose the Federal Reserve offering a CBDC, twice as many as those in favor. However, it's worth noting that this survey consisted of only 28% of Americans who are familiar with the concept of CBDCs, with the majority of the population being in the dark, which is likely the case for many other countries. In other countries like the Netherlands, critics have even taken to the streets to protest against CBDCs. The bottom line is that currently CBDCs still have a bad reputation, but that has not stopped governments' efforts in exploring one. This, of course, has meant adoption problems, at least for the countries that have launched so far. Will the other countries currently exploring CBDCs win over their citizens? Well, only time will tell. Well, that's all for today's video. If you found this informative, leave a like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Now, what are your thoughts on CBDCs, and is your country considering one? Let us know in the comments below. Bye.